in my mind as a layperson, the golden visa for Spain and Portugal, they seem to be almost the same. What, and you obviously you're closer to this. What distinguishes the golden visa for each of these two countries, or are they identical more or less?
It is quite interesting. Yes, they are very similar in the way that they work, in the way that the civil law actually works in Spain and in Portugal. They have, as you said, certain nuances, and I think that on the side of Portugal, it is quite interesting the different options that you have in terms of the investment. Depending if you invest in certain areas, basically you cannot invest in Lisbon, Porto, or the Algarve, or if you invest in hotel development projects, the investment is lower. It is quite interesting because after those 5 years passing language tests, you can apply for a Portuguese citizenship, provided that you have stayed in the country those couple of weeks per year and so on for a couple of years. But one thing that it is unique on the other hand for the Spanish program, it is, as we said before, that ability to invest in over 4,000 Spanish registered investment funds, which are, entirely to the disposal of the investor, qualify for the golden visa. There is no need at the end of the day to be in the country. And the process itself, it is very fast. I mean, once the application has been submitted, it usually would take around 20 working days if the government didn't say anything. But it's very, very fast. It is very, very effective. And also the last feature, which is extraordinarily interesting, it is that for Spain, it is that for Ibero-American citizens from Ibero-America, including Dominican Republic, Cuba, Mexico, and the South Cone, Equatorial Guinea, and the Philippines, after 2 years of effective residency in Spain, they can opt for Spanish nationality. So what we are seeing, it is many applicants that they are thinking, at the end of the day, the typical thing, their children, having the opportunity to study here in Spain, instead of with a student visa, with a golden visa, with a residence permit. And after 2 years, they can apply for Spanish citizenship. Whilst basically mom and dad, they keep on running the business, whatever, in the Philippines or in South America. That is something that we are seeing pretty much, and is quite interesting. Also, then the main difference, I would say, besides the financial aspects, it is the real estate market. I mean, the real estate market in Spain, as a bigger country, it is bigger. I mean, you have Madrid, you have Barcelona, south of Spain. Basically, interest or yields, basically on the properties, they are quite interesting. This is still a healthy market, which is driven by local, not by foreigners only. So there's a huge demand basically on that as well, local actors. Obviously, then you have your European buyers and your golden visa buyers, but it is not the other way around. You don't have your golden visa buyers and then your local buyers. So it is a very, very, very interesting option, very interesting way to look into Europe indeed.
Okay, so definitely the fund option and the real estate option for Spain is arguably more attractive than Portugal. But at the same time, if you don't come from a former Spanish colony, so Central South America, the Spanish Caribbean islands, including Puerto Rico, apparently, as well as the Philippines, you would have to wait 10 years. Am I correct? You need to wait. So you need to wait a bit longer for Spain.
Yeah.
But so therefore, it's more attractive to that Spanish speaking, that Spanish history, historically Spanish colonies. It'll be more attractive. However, from the Portugal point of view, for, generally speaking, if you don't come from a former Spanish colony, Portugal may be a bit more attractive because you get it after 5 years rather than 10. But the downside is if it is you go for the real estate or the fund option, it's perhaps less interesting than Spain. So neither is perfect, but they would fit different personalities or different family objectives, I would imagine. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it is a question that we would ask very, very often, just basically by clients normally from the UK. Lots of times, they are hordes in Europe. Some of them, they are used to being Portugal and Spain. They want to invest, they want to get this and that. Which one is best? And to be honest with you, it depends on there are certain things, yes. I mean, Portugal, sometimes it is slower than Spain. But at the end of the day, we have clients that they are happy to wait. That's fine. So it all depends on what the client wants and to have the correct advice. I mean, sometimes clients, they just basically they are not so much worried about the 5-6 years timeline to citizenship, because they are bored. It is with Spain, and actually they want to move to Spain. American citizens, UK citizens, they actually want to relocate, and they need tax planning to do that. So I'm going to do tax lawyers, etc., etc. Some of them just say, no, that's fine. I mean, I want my citizenship in 5-6 years. Okay, so let's talk about Portugal. It all depends basically on the mid-long-term goals of the client. So it is difficult to say what is best, because both options are great.
Yeah. What about, as you mentioned, Americans? So I know Portugal gets hyped a lot in the media in the US, but does that hype, and at least the percentage of media headlines, does that resonate with the reality? So are more Americans opting for Portugal over, let's say, Spain or Malta?
Yeah, I would say yes. There are more Americans opting for Portugal than for Spain, although there is a lot of interest from US citizens in Spain as well. I guess that it is due to a lot of different factors that we just mentioned. At the end of the day, the ability to get the citizenship, it is just basically lower investment. Some of them, they are looking at the NHR as well, for future possibilities, and sometimes they do that combination of Portugal and Caribbean, and they do all their things. So their citizenship planning a little bit more complex, let's put it that way, in terms of their US passport, signing and all that stuff. But that it is not my not my reign. That is yours there. And that's just I don't know about that.
Okay, fantastic.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.